The alien ship moved slowly through space, like a giant metal fish swimming in dark water. Its name was Serenity's Edge, and it belonged to the Galactic Council. Inside the ship, 3 alien beings stared at screens, showing a small planet below them. Kethver was the leader of the group. He looked like a tall lizard that walked on 2 legs. His green skin had dark spots, and his yellow eyes never blinked. He was a scientist who studied different life forms across the galaxy. Today, he was very excited because he had found something new. "Look at this planet," Kethvar said to his team. His voice sounded like rocks scraping together. "The beings down there are so simple. They just grow food, can build small houses. They are perfect for our research." Veltar, his assistant, nodded quickly. He was younger than Kethvar and wanted to make his boss happy. Veltar had blue skin and was smaller than the other aliens. He always tried to prove he was smart and brave. "Yes, sir," Veltar said. "They look very primitive. I read that they call themselves humans. They have no real technology. They just use basic tools." The 3rd alien was Grondik, the security chief. He was bigger than the others, with thick gray skin and 4 arms. His job was to keep the team safe. He looked at the screens, but did not say much. Something about the planet made him feel worried, but he could not explain why. On the planet below, the morning sun was rising over New Kansas Colony. The place looked like a simple farming town from old Earth. Small houses sat between green fields. People walked around doing their daily work. Children played in the streets. Everything looked peaceful and normal. Jake Morrison stood outside his office building, drinking coffee from a metal cup. He was the colony administrator, which meant he was in charge of making sure everything ran smoothly. Jake was a tall man with brown hair and kind eyes. He had been a soldier on Earth before coming to New Kansas, but now he just looked like a regular farmer. "Morning, Jake," said Lisa Campbell as she walked by. She was the colony's doctor, a woman with short black hair and a friendly smile. She carried a medical bag and was heading to check on the sick people in town. "Morning, Lisa," Jake replied. "How is Mrs. Johnson doing?" "Much better. Her fever broke last night," Lisa said. "I think she will be fine in a few days." Jake nodded and watched Lisa walk away. He liked living in New Kansas. The people were good, and life was simple. But sometimes he missed the excitement of his old job as a soldier. He had no idea that excitement was about to find him near the edge of town. Ben Rodriguez was fixing a broken fence. He was an older man with gray hair and strong hands. Ben had been one of the first people to come to New Kansas. He knew how to fix almost anything and was always helping his neighbors. "Dad, can I help?" asked a young voice. Ben looked up and saw Amy Harrison, an 8-year-old girl with blonde hair and bright blue eyes. She was the daughter of the colony's chief engineer, but her father was away on a work trip. Amy liked to follow Ben around and ask questions about everything. "Sure, sweetheart," Ben said with a smile. "You can hand me those tools." Amy picked up a hammer and gave it to Ben. She was a curious child who loved to learn new things. She already read better than most kids her age, and was always asking questions about how things worked. "Ben, why do you think there are so many stars in the sky?" Amy asked as she looked up. "I don't know," Ben said. "Maybe there are other worlds out there with people like us." Amy thought about this. "Do you think they would be friendly?" "I hope so," Ben said. He had no idea that at that very moment, aliens were watching them from space. Back on the alien ship, Kethver was getting more excited. He had been studying the humans for 3 days now. In his opinion, they were just smart animals, like the monkey creatures he had studied on other planets. "They walk on 2 legs and use tools," he told his team. "But they show no signs of real intelligence. They do not have space travel or advanced computers. They are perfect subjects for our experiments. Veltar looked at the screens showing the human children playing. Should we take one of the small ones? They would be easier to study. Good idea, Cuthbert said. The young ones will tell us more about how their species develops. Grondek shifted uncomfortably. Sir, are we sure they are not intelligent? Some of their buildings look well made. Nonsense, Cuthbert said. Many animals can build things. Look at birds making nests or bees making hives. These humans are just slightly more advanced animals. Unknown to the aliens, their ship had already been detected by the human colony. Hidden sensors that looked like farm equipment had spotted the alien vessel the moment it entered the system. The sensors sent information to computers buried deep underground in a secret room beneath Jake's office. Machines quietly recorded everything the aliens did. The colony looked simple on the outside, but it was actually full of advanced technology. The humans had been expecting this day for a long time. Amy continued to help Ben with the fence, not knowing that alien eyes were watching her every move. She picked flowers from the nearby field and made a small bouquet for her mother. The flowers were yellow and smelled sweet. I'm going to take these home, Amy told Ben. Mom will like them. That's very nice of you, Ben said. Your mother is lucky to have such a thoughtful daughter. Amy smiled and started walking toward her house. She hummed a little song as she went. The sun was warm on her face, and she felt happy. She had no idea that her life was about to change forever. On the alien ship, Veltar was preparing for his first field mission. He put on his equipment and checked his tools. He was nervous but excited. If he could capture a human specimen, Kethvar would be very pleased with him. Remember, Kethvar said, we just need one small one. It should be easy to catch. Veltar nodded. He thought this would be simple. After all, how hard could it be? To catch a primitive animal? As Amy walked through the field with her flowers, she noticed something shiny in the sky. It looked like a star, but it was moving. She stopped and stared up at it, wondering what it could be. The shiny thing was getting bigger. Veltar's small ship landed softly in the field behind Amy. The ship was round and silver, about the size of a large car. It made no sound as it touched the ground. Advanced technology kept it hidden from most detection systems, or so Veltar thought. Amy turned around when she heard a soft whoosh of air. She saw the strange silver object and tilted her head, curious. She had never seen anything like it before. The flowers in her hand suddenly seemed less important. What is that? She said to herself. A door opened on the side of the ship. Veltar stepped out, wearing a suit that covered his blue skin. He looked around the field and spotted the small human child. Perfect, he thought. This one is even smaller than the others he had seen. Veltar pulled out a device that looked like a gun, but it was actually a stun weapon. He pointed it at Amy and pressed the button. A blue beam shot out and hit the little girl. Amy's eyes went wide with surprise. Then she fell asleep and dropped to the ground. The yellow flowers scattered in the grass around her. Excellent, Veltar said to himself. The specimen is secured. He picked up Amy's small body and carried her to his ship. She was lighter than he expected. As he lifted her, a small device fell from her wrist. It looked like a simple bracelet, but it was actually a biometric tracker that all colony children wore. The device hit the ground and immediately sent an emergency signal. Veltar did not notice the device. He was too excited about capturing his first human specimen. He placed Amy inside a holding cell in his ship and took off. The whole operation took less than 5 minutes. Back in the colony, Ben Rodriguez was still working on the fence when his communicator beeped. It was a simple-looking device that hung from his belt, but it was actually very advanced technology disguised to look primitive. Ben here, he said. "We have a problem," came Jake Morrison's voice. Amy Harrison's tracker just went offline. "Emergency protocols are active." Ben's face went pale. He dropped his tools and ran toward the colony center. His old military training kicked in immediately. He might look like a simple farmer, but Ben Rodriguez had been a Special Forces operative for 20 years before coming to New Kansas. Jake Morrison was already in his office when Ben arrived. But this was not the same friendly administrator who had been drinking coffee that morning. Now Jake's eyes were hard and focused. He was standing in front of a wall of hidden computer screens that had emerged from what looked like a simple wood cabinet. "What do we know?" Ben asked. "Amy's tracker went offline at 0947 hours, Jake said. "Our sensors picked up an unknown craft landing in Sector 7. The craft took off again 3 minutes later." Lisa Campbell burst through the door. She was breathing hard from running. "I came as soon as I got the alert. Where is she?" "Taken," Jake said simply. "By aliens." Lisa's face went white. "Oh no. This is what we've been training for, isn't it?" Jake nodded. "The day we hoped would never come." For the past 10 years, New Kansas had been more than just a farming colony. It was an early warning outpost staffed by retired military personnel and their families. Every adult in the colony knew the truth. They were humanity's first line of defense against alien contact. The colony's children, including Amy, did not know the full truth. They thought their parents were just farmers and workers. This was to protect them and to make the colony look more believable to any aliens who might be watching. "Have you contacted Earth?" Lisa asked. The message went out automatically when Amy's tracker was triggered. Jake said, "Fleet Command should have it by now." Above them, hidden in what looked like a simple water tower, a quantum communicator sent a coded message across space faster than light. The message traveled through several relay stations before reaching Earth's orbital defense platform. Admiral Kate Sullivan was in her office on the defense platform when the message arrived. She was a woman in her 50s with short gray hair and the bearing of a career military officer. She had been waiting for this message for 15 years. "Ma'am," said her aide, a young officer named Lieutenant Davis. "Priority message from New Kansas." Kate read the message and felt her blood run cold. "Sound General Quarters. All ships prepare for immediate departure. This is not a drill." Within minutes, 12 of humanity's most advanced warships were preparing to leave the solar system. The ships looked like simple cargo vessels or exploration craft, but they were actually heavily armed and equipped with the latest technology. Back on the alien research ship, Amy was waking up in her cell. She felt dizzy and confused. The room around her was strange, with walls that seemed to glow with soft light. She was lying on something that felt like a bed, but it was made of some material she had never seen before. "Hello?" she called out. "Is anyone there?" Veltar heard her voice through the monitoring system. He was pleased that the human was conscious. Now he could begin his study. "The specimen is awake," he reported to Kethvar. "Good," Kethvar replied. "Begin the initial observations. I want to know everything about how their minds work." Veltar entered the holding area where Amy was kept. When she saw him, her eyes went wide. He was unlike anything she had ever seen. His blue skin and strange eyes scared her, but she tried to be brave. "Who are you?" Amy asked. "Where am I?" Veltar was surprised. He had expected the human to make simple sounds, like the animals he had studied before. But this one was using complex language. "Interesting," he said, making notes on his device. "The specimen shows advanced vocalization patterns." "I'm not a specimen," Amy said. "I'm a person. My name is Amy Harrison." "What's your name?" This confused Veltar even more. The human was not just making sounds. She was actually trying to communicate with him. She even asked for his name, which showed she understood the concept of individual identity. "I am Veltar," he said without thinking. "Nice to meet you, Veltar," Amy said politely. "Can you please take me home? My mom and dad will be worried about me." Veltar stared at her. The human understood complex social concepts like family relationships and emotional states. This was far beyond what he had expected from a primitive animal. "You will stay here," he said, "for study." Amy's eyes filled with tears. "But I want to go home. I was picking flowers for my mom." Back on New Kansas, the colony's hidden defensive systems were coming online. What had looked like simple farming equipment revealed itself to be advanced sensor arrays and communication devices. The barn that stored farming tools opened to reveal a small military command center. Jake Morrison stood at the center of it, all coordinating the search efforts. "Do we have a lock on the alien ship?" "Yes, sir," said Ben Rodriguez, now wearing a military uniform instead of his farmer clothes. "It's holding position in orbit. They think we can't detect them." "Any word from the fleet?" asked Lisa Campbell. "ETA 47 minutes, Jake replied. "Admiral Sullivan is leading the task force personally." Lisa nodded. She was no longer just a colony doctor. She was Commander Lisa Campbell, former military medical officer and specialist in alien biology. She had been studying theoretical alien physiology for years, preparing for this day. "Jake," she said, "we need to be careful. If they realize Amy is sapient, they might panic and hurt her." "I know," Jake said, "but we also can't let them leave with her." On the alien ship, Veltar was becoming more confused by the minute. Amy had been asking him questions about his home world, his family, and his job. She seemed genuinely interested in learning about him. "Do you have children?" Amy asked. "Yes," Veltar said. "I have 2 offspring." "What are their names?" Veltar hesitated. Why did this human want to know about his personal life? Animals did not ask such questions. "Their names are Keptar and Zentar," he said. Amy smiled. "Those are pretty names. Do you miss them when you're away on your ship?" This question hit Veltar hard. He did miss his children. He had been away from home for 6 months on this research mission. "Yes," he said quietly. "I miss them very much." "I understand," Amy said. "I miss my mom and dad too. That's why I want to go home." For the first time, Veltar began to wonder if he had made a terrible mistake. Veltar left Amy's cell feeling troubled. He walked through the ship's corridors, trying to understand what had just happened. The human child had spoken to him like an equal. She had asked about his family and seemed to understand his feelings. "This cannot be right," he said to himself. "She is just an animal, a very clever animal." But the doubt was growing in his mind. He had studied many species across the galaxy, and none of them had ever shown such complex behavior. Even the smartest animals he had worked with could not hold a real conversation in the ship's main laboratory. Kethver was preparing his equipment. He was excited to begin his experiments on the human specimen. He had several tests planned that would help him understand how the human brain worked. "Veltar," he called out, "bring the specimen to the lab. It is time to begin." Veltar hesitated. "Sir, I think we should be careful. The human shows signs of advanced intelligence." Kethver laughed. "Nonsense. Many animals can mimic intelligent behavior. Parrots can speak, dolphins can solve puzzles, and apes can use tools. But they are still just animals. This is different." Veltar insisted. "She asked about my children. She understands family bonds." "Impossible," Kethver said. "You are letting your emotions cloud your judgment. Bring the specimen now." Veltar knew he had no choice. He returned to Amy's cell and found her sitting quietly on the bed. She had been drawing pictures on the wall. With her finger, using some kind of mud from her shoes. "What are you doing?" Veltar asked. "Drawing my family," Amy said. "This is my mom, and this is my dad, and this is my dog, Buddy." Veltar looked at the drawings. They were simple but clear. The human had created recognizable images of other humans and an animal. This showed artistic ability and abstract thinking. "You draw well," he said. "Thank you," Amy said. "My mom taught me. She's really good at drawing. She went to art school before she became a doctor." Veltar was shocked. The human was talking about education and career choices. These were concepts. That required long-term planning and abstract thinking. "Your mother is a doctor?" he asked. "Yes," Amy said proudly. "She helps people when they get sick. She's really smart. She knows about medicine and biology, and lots of other things." Veltar's hands began to shake. If this was true, then humans had complex social structures with specialized roles. They had formal education systems and medical knowledge. These were signs of an advanced civilization. "Amy," he said carefully, "can you count?" Amy looked at him strangely. "Of course I can count. I'm 8 years old, not a baby. Count to 10 for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Amy said. Then she continued, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Veltar felt sick. The human child understood numerical concepts far beyond what any animal could comprehend. "Can you add numbers?" he asked. "Sure," Amy said. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 5 plus 3 equals 8. 10 plus 15 equals 25. Veltar had to sit down. This was impossible. According to all their research, humans were primitive creatures with no real intelligence. But this child was demonstrating mathematical ability that rivaled some adult members of his own species. "Amy," he said, "what do you want to be when you grow up?" Amy thought for a moment. "I want to be a scientist like my dad. He builds machines that help people. Or maybe I'll be a teacher like Mrs. Johnson at our school. She teaches us about the stars and planets." Veltar stood up quickly. "You go to school? You learn about astronomy?" "Of course," Amy said. "We learn about lots of things. Reading, writing, math, science, history. Last week we learned about the solar system. Did you know that Earth has 1 moon, but Jupiter has 79 moons?" Eldar ran from the cell. He had to find Grandek, the security chief. Maybe Grandek would listen to him. He found Grandek in the security center, monitoring the ships. Sensors. The big alien was studying readings from the planet below. "Grandek," Veltar said breathlessly, "we have made a terrible mistake." "What do you mean?" Grandek asked. "The human child. She is intelligent. Truly intelligent. She goes to school. She understands mathematics. She knows about astronomy." Grandek nodded slowly. "I have been thinking the same thing. Look at these sensor readings from the planet." He showed Veltar the data on his screen. "These humans are using communication frequencies that require advanced technology. They have quantum transmitters, sensor arrays, and power systems that are far beyond what we expected." "We have to tell Kethver," Veltar said. "I tried," Grandek replied. "He refuses to listen. He says we are seeing patterns that do not exist." Meanwhile, on the planet below, the human fleet was getting closer. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship, the ESS Defiance. She was reviewing the tactical situation with her officers. "How long until we reach New Kansas?" she asked. 32 minutes, Admiral," replied Captain Mark Thompson, her second in command. "And the alien ship?" "Still in orbit around the planet. They seem to be unaware of our approach." Kate nodded. "Good. We need to be careful here. This is first." contact with a new species. We cannot afford to make this situation worse. What are our orders regarding the child?" asked Captain Thompson. "We get her back," Kate said firmly. "Whatever it takes." Back on the alien ship, Keffer was preparing his laboratory for the experiments. He had several machines ready that would scan the human brain and body. Some of the tests would be painful, but he did not care. In his mind, he was studying an animal, not a person. "Viltar." He called out, "Where is the specimen?" Viltar entered the lab reluctantly. "Sir, I really think we should reconsider. The human child shows clear signs of sapience." "Enough!" Keffer shouted. "I am tired of your foolish concerns. Bring the specimen immediately, or I will have you removed from this mission." Viltar knew he had no choice. He went to get Amy, but his mind was racing. He had to find a way to protect her without directly disobeying Keth-Vyar in her cell. Amy was still drawing on the wall. She had added more figures to her family picture and was now drawing what looked like a house with a garden. "That's beautiful," Viltar said softly. "Thank you," Amy said. "This is my house. See the garden? I help my mom grow vegetables there. We have tomatoes, carrots, and lettuce." "Amy," Viltar said carefully, "I have to take you to another room. Now, there might be some tests." Amy looked scared. "What kind of tests?" "I do not know," Viltar said honestly, "but I will try to protect you." Amy nodded bravely. "Okay, but can I ask you something first?" "Yes. Do you think I'll ever see my family again?" Viltar looked into her bright blue eyes and felt his heart break. This was not an animal. This was a child, just like his own children back home. She had thoughts and feelings and dreams for the future. "I hope so," he said quietly. "I really hope so." As they walked toward the laboratory, Amy took Viltar's hand. "You're nice," she said. "Even though you look different from humans, I can tell you're a good person." Viltar stopped walking. The human child had just demonstrated empathy, the ability to see goodness in someone who was different from herself. This was one of the highest forms of intelligence and emotional development. "Amy," he said, "I need to ask you something very important. Do you understand that I am not human?" "Of course," Amy said. "You're an alien. You come from a different planet. How do you know about aliens?" Amy looked at him like he had asked a silly question. "Everyone knows about aliens. We learned about them in school. Our teachers told us that the universe is very big, and there are probably lots of different kinds of people living on other worlds." Viltar realized with growing horror that humans not only had advanced technology and education, but they also had theoretical knowledge about alien life. They were already preparing their children for contact with other species. "Amy," he said urgently, "what else do you know about aliens?" "Well," Amy said, thinking carefully, "our teachers told us that if we ever met aliens, we should be friendly and try to learn about them. They said that most aliens would probably be nice, just like most humans are nice. What if the aliens were not nice?" Amy's face became serious. "Then the grown-ups would protect us. That's what grown-ups do." At that moment, Viltar realized the full magnitude of what they had done. They had not just captured an animal. They had kidnapped a child from an intelligent species. And somewhere below, that child's family and community were probably preparing to come for her. "Viltar!" Kethfer's voice echoed through the corridor. "What is taking so long?" Viltar looked at Amy, and at the laboratory door ahead. He had to make a choice. He could follow Kethfer's orders and allow the experiments to proceed, or he could try to save this innocent child. "Amy," he whispered, "when we go in there, whatever happens, remember that you are brave and smart. Never forget that." Amy squeezed his hand. "I won't forget? And Viltar?" Thank you for being kind to me." As they approached the laboratory, Veltar made his decision. He would not let Kethver hurt this child. Even if it meant destroying his own career, he would find a way to protect her. But first, he had to get through whatever Kethver had planned. And he had to hope that help was coming for Amy Harrison. The Defiance cut through space like a knife through water. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge, watching the stars move past on the main screen. Behind her flagship, 11 other warships followed in perfect formation. "Admiral," called out Lieutenant Commander Sarah Davis from the communication station. "We're receiving updated intelligence from New Kansas Ground Control." Kate turned to face her. "What do they have?" "The alien ship is still in orbit. They appear to be conducting some kind of research. Ground sensors indicate the child is still alive and aboard their vessel." Kate nodded grimly. "Any changes in the ship's position?" "No, ma'am. They're holding steady at 30,000 kilometers above the planet." "Good. They don't know we're coming." What the aliens didn't understand was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for over 50 years. After developing faster-than-light travel, human leaders knew that contact with alien species was inevitable. They had created a network of early warning colonies, like New Kansas, throughout human space. Each colony looked like a simple farming settlement, but they were actually military outposts staffed by volunteers. The families who lived there knew the risks, but they also knew their sacrifice might save billions of lives on Earth and other human worlds. Captain Thompson approached the Admiral. "Ma'am, we'll be in weapons range in 20 minutes. What are your orders?" Kate considered her. "Options. We go in quiet. No threatening moves unless they try to leave with the child. Remember, this is first contact. How we handle this will determine humanity's relationship with the galaxy for generations." "Understood, Admiral." Kate looked at the tactical display, showing the alien ship. It was smaller than her flagship, but still large enough to be dangerous. She had no idea what weapons it might carry. "Thompson," she said, "send a message to the fleet. All ships are to power down their weapons and approach slowly. We don't want to start a war if we can avoid it." On the alien ship, Kethver was growing impatient. He had been waiting for Veltar to bring the human specimen to the laboratory for 10 minutes. "Where are they?" he muttered to himself. He walked to the intercom system and pressed a button. "Veltar, report to the laboratory immediately with the specimen." In the corridor outside Amy's cell, Veltar was trying to delay as long as possible. He had been asking Amy questions about her life, her family, and her education. Every answer made him more convinced that they had made a terrible mistake. "Amy," he said, "tell me about your school." "Well," Amy said, "we have about 30 kids. In our class, Mrs. Johnson teaches us reading and math in the morning. Mr. Peterson teaches us science and history in the afternoon. And Miss Garcia teaches us music and art." Veltar was amazed. The humans had a formal education system with specialized teachers for different subjects. This was far beyond what any primitive species could achieve. "What is your favorite subject?" he asked. "Science," Amy said without hesitation. "I love learning about how things work. Last week we learned about atoms and molecules. Did you know that everything is made of tiny particles that are too small to see?" Veltar felt his legs grow weak. The human child was discussing advanced scientific concepts that many adults of his species struggled to understand. "Amy," he said carefully, "what do you want to learn about next?" "Space travel," Amy said excitedly. "I want to know how ships can go faster than light. My dad says it has something to do with bending space-time, but I don't understand that yet." Veltar had to lean against the wall. The humans clearly had theoretical knowledge of faster-than-light travel. This meant they might already have the technology, or they were close to developing it. "Veltar," Cuthbert's voice came through the intercom again. I will not wait any longer. Bring the specimen now. Veltar knew he could not delay any more. Amy, we have to go now. But remember what I told you. You are brave and smart. Amy nodded. I remember. They walked to the laboratory together. When they entered, Cuthbert was waiting with his equipment ready. He had several machines that would scan Amy's brain and body. Some of them looked very frightening. Finally, Cuthbert said, place the specimen on the examination table. Sir, Veltar said, I must protest. This human shows clear signs of intelligence. She understands mathematics, science, and complex social structures. Cuthbert's eyes flashed with anger. I have had enough of your objections. If you cannot follow orders, you will be removed from this mission. Veltar looked at Amy, who was staring at the scary machines with wide eyes. Sir, please listen to me. She goes to school. She learns about atoms and space travel. She has a family and friends. Enough! Cuthbert shouted. Animals can be trained to repeat words. This means nothing. He turned to Amy and spoke slowly, as if talking to a pet. Specimen, get on the table. Amy looked confused. My name is Amy, not Specimen, and I don't want to get on that table. It looks scary, you see? Cuthbert said to Veltar. It refuses to obey, just like a wild animal. But Veltar saw something different. Amy was not being stubborn like an animal. She was being brave in a frightening situation. She was thinking about her choices and making decisions. Amy, Veltar said gently, can you tell Cuthbert about your family? Amy looked at the angry alien scientist. My mom is Dr. Campbell. She helps sick people get better. My dad is an engineer. He builds machines that help our colony. I have a dog named Buddy who likes to play fetch. Trained responses, Cuthbert said dismissively. Now get on the table. Amy shook her head. No, I want to go home. My parents will be worried about me. It cannot understand worry, Cuthbert said to Veltar. Animals do not have complex emotions, but Amy heard him. I do understand worry. I worry about my mom when she works late at the hospital. I worry about my dad when he has to fix dangerous machines. And I worry about Buddy when he gets sick. Veltar turned to Cuthbert. Sir, she just demonstrated empathy and emotional intelligence. She worries about others, not just herself. Nonsense, Cuthbert said. He activated one of his machines. I will prove to you that this is just a clever animal. The machine began to scan Amy's brain. On the screen, complex patterns appeared showing neural activity. Cuthbert looked at the readings and frowned. This cannot be right, he muttered. The patterns on the screen were identical to those found in intelligent species. Amy's brain was processing information at the same level as an adult Zephyrian. Amy, Veltar said quickly, can you solve this? Math problem? What is 12 times 7? Amy thought for a moment. 84, she said. The brain scan showed complex mathematical processing happening in real time. There was no doubt that Amy was performing genuine calculations, not just repeating memorized answers. Sir, Veltar said urgently, the scans prove she is sapient. We have made a terrible mistake. Cuthbert stared at the screen for a long moment. The evidence was clear, but accepting it would mean admitting that his entire career was built on a massive error. He had written papers about human primitiveness. He had received awards for his research. If he was wrong about humans, everything he had achieved would be meaningless. The machines must be broken, he said finally. These readings are impossible. Veltar looked at his superior with growing alarm. Sir, the machines are working perfectly. We must accept what they are telling us. But Cuthbert was not listening. His pride would not let him admit such a huge mistake. Continue with the procedure, he ordered. No, Veltar said firmly. I will not allow you to harm an intelligent being. Amy watched the two aliens argue. She could tell that Veltar was trying to protect her, while the other alien wanted to hurt her. Even though she was scared, she tried to help. Please, she said to Kethver, I can prove I'm smart. Ask me any question you want. Kethver ignored her and reached for a neural probe, a device that would cause tremendous pain. If you will not help, Veltar, then step aside. I cannot do that, Veltar said, moving between Kethver and Amy. At that moment, Grondek burst into the laboratory. The security chief's 4 arms were moving frantically as he worked his communication device. Sir, he said to Kethver, we have a major problem. I am detecting 12 ships approaching our position. What kind of ships? Kethver asked. Unknown design. They appeared from hyperspace 10 minutes ago and are closing fast. Veltar felt a chill run down his spine. Sir, what if those are human ships? Impossible, Kethver said. Humans do not have space travel. Then explain how this child knows about faster-than-light travel, Veltar challenged. Explain how she understands complex science and mathematics. Amy heard them talking about human ships and felt a spark of hope. Are those ships from Earth? She asked. Grondek looked at her in surprise. How do you know about Earth? That's where humans come from, Amy said simply. Everyone knows that. The security chief's face went pale. Sir, if humans have space travel and we have taken one of their children, ... It does not matter, Kethver said stubbornly. We will complete our research and leave. But Veltar could see panic in his superior's eyes. Kethver knew the truth now, but his pride would not let him admit it. On the approaching human fleet, Admiral Sullivan was receiving updates from her intelligence officers. Admiral, reported Commander Davis, we've confirmed the alien ships. Location. It's a Zephyrian research vessel according to our databases. Zephyrians? Kate asked. What do we know about them? They're part of the Galactic. The silence in the laboratory stretched for what felt like hours. Kethver stared at Amy's holographic star map, his yellow eyes wide with shock. The truth was finally sinking in. He had not captured a primitive animal. He had kidnapped an intelligent child from an advanced species. Sir, Grondek's voice came through the intercom. The human ships are powering up their weapons. We need to make a decision. Kethver's hands shook as he reached for the neural probe. His career, his reputation, his entire life's work was crumbling. Around him, if word got out that he had mistaken a sapient species for animals, he would be ruined. I can fix this, he said quietly. If there is no evidence, no one will know. Veltar realized what his superior was planning. Sir, you cannot be serious. You would murder a child to save your reputation? She is not supposed to be intelligent. Kethver said, his voice becoming desperate. The research says humans are primitive. If I eliminate the evidence, everything can go back to normal. Amy saw the scary device in Kethver's hand and stepped closer to Veltar. What is he doing? She asked. I will not let him hurt you, Veltar promised. Kethver raised the neural probe and pointed it at Amy. The device hummed with deadly energy. Step aside, Veltar. This is for the good of science. You idiot, Veltar shouted, moving in front of Amy. That was a human child. You've killed us all. At that exact moment, the wall of the laboratory exploded inward. Human soldiers in advanced armor burst through the breach, their weapons trained on the aliens. Jake Morrison and Ben Rodriguez led the boarding party, their farmer disguises completely gone. Drop your weapons, Jake commanded. Kethver spun around, still holding the neural probe. He fired it at the first human he saw, but Ben Rodriguez's armor deflected the blast easily. Big mistake, Ben said, raising his own weapon. But before anyone could fire, Amy ran between them. "Stop, please don't hurt Veltar. He protected me." Jake looked at the small alien who was shielding the human child with his own body. "Is this true?" "Yes," Amy said. "Veltar is good. He tried to stop the bad one from hurting me." Veltar was amazed by Amy's bravery. Even after everything that had happened, she was trying to protect him from her own rescuers. Grondik entered the laboratory with his hands raised. "I surrender," he said. "I tried to warn them that taking the child was wrong, but Kethver would not listen." Jake motioned for his soldiers to secure Kethvar, who was mumbling about failed research and ruined careers. The alien scientist had broken completely under the pressure of his mistake. "Amy," Jake said gently, "are you hurt?" "I'm okay," Amy said. "Veltar took care of me." Ben Rodriguez knelt down next to Amy and hugged her. "Your parents are very worried about you. Let's get you home." As they prepared to leave, Amy turned back to Veltar. "Will I see you again?" Veltar looked uncertain. "I do not know, little one. I will probably be in much trouble for my part in this." "But you didn't do anything wrong," Amy protested. "You protected me." Jake Morrison studied the young alien. "What's your name? Veltar, sir?" "I am a research assistant aboard this vessel." "Veltar," Jake said. "Amy is right. You protected her when your superior tried to harm her. That means something to us." 2 hours later, representatives from the Galactic Council arrived at New Kansas. The news of what had happened spread quickly through the galaxy. A member species had kidnapped a child from an unknown race, only to discover that the primitives had advanced technology and military fleets. The trial was held on New Kansas, with Admiral Sullivan presiding as the human representative. The Galactic Council sent 3 judges to oversee the proceedings. Kethvar was found guilty of kidnapping a sapient being and attempted murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment on a prison world far from civilized space. Grondik was given a suspended sentence for his failure to prevent the crime, but his testimony about trying to warn Kethvar helped reduce his punishment. Veltar's case was more complicated. He had participated in Amy's kidnapping, but he had also protected her and tried to convince his superiors that humans were intelligent. Amy herself testified at the trial. "Veltar was kind to me," she said. "He asked about my family and told me about his children. When the bad alien tried to hurt me, Veltar stood in front of me." The judges were impressed by the child's testimony. Here was a member of a supposedly primitive species, speaking eloquently about complex concepts like justice and forgiveness. "The human child shows remarkable intelligence and emotional maturity," said Judge Krelinox, the Chief Justice. "Her testimony confirms that humans are indeed a sapient species." In the end, Veltar was sentenced to community service. He would spend the next 5 years working with human scientists, learning about their culture, and helping to establish proper first contact protocols. The Zephyrian Republic was ordered to pay massive reparations to humanity. More importantly, humans were granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all the rights and protections that came with it. 6 months later, Amy was playing in her garden when a familiar figure approached. Veltar looked different now, wearing simple clothes instead of his research uniform. "Hello, Amy," he said. "Veltar." Amy ran to him and gave him a hug. "I'm so happy to see you." "I am happy to see you too," Veltar said. "I brought someone I want you to meet." 2 smaller aliens appeared from behind him. They looked like younger versions of Veltar, with brighter blue skin and curious eyes. "These are my children, Keptar and Zentar," he said. "I told them about the brave human girl who showed me what true intelligence looks like." Amy smiled and waved at the alien children. "Do you want to see my garden? I can teach you about earth plants." As the children played together, Veltar sat with Jake Morrison and Lisa Campbell. "How are you adjusting to life on New Kansas?" Lisa asked. "It is different," Veltar said, "but good. I am learning much about human culture. Your people are remarkable. What impresses you most about us?" Jake asked. Veltar thought for a moment. "Your capacity for forgiveness. Amy could have hated me for my part in taking her from her family. Instead, she defended me and welcomed my children as friends." Jake nodded. "That's Amy. She sees the good in everyone." "It is not just Amy," Veltar said. "Your entire species shows this quality. You could have destroyed our ship and killed us. All. Instead, you chose justice over revenge." In the distance, Amy was teaching the alien children how to plant tomatoes. She was explaining about soil and water and sunshine, using simple words that they could understand. "You know," Lisa said, "Amy wants to be a scientist when she grows up. She says she wants to study alien cultures and help different species understand each other." Veltar smiled. "She would be excellent at that. She has already taught me more about understanding others than I learned in my entire education." As the sun set over New Kansas, the three children continued playing in the garden. Human and alien, working together to plant seeds that would grow into something beautiful. The galaxy was a bigger place now that humans had joined it. But it was also a better place, because Amy Harrison had shown everyone that intelligence comes in many forms, and the greatest wisdom often comes from the smallest voices. Years later, when Amy became the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council, she would always remember the scared little alien who protected her when she needed it most. And Veltar would remember the human child who taught him that true science begins with understanding, not assumptions. The story of their first meeting became legend throughout the galaxy. It was a reminder that first impressions can be wrong, that courage comes in small packages, and that sometimes the most important discoveries happen when we least expect them. New Kansas remained a farming colony, but now it was also a symbol of hope. Human and alien families lived there together, their children playing in the same fields where Amy had once picked flowers for her mother. The flowers still grew there, yellow and sweet-smelling, marking the spot where two species first met and learned that friendship was possible across the vast darkness of Space Dot. And if you listened carefully on quiet evenings, you could still hear the sound of children laughing as they played together, human and alien voices mixing in perfect harmony. Under the alien stars,